first meeting between the two teams back in February 10-4, and are looking to do the same tonight. Starting on the mound for JU tonight will be right-handed pitcher Aaron Zenes against Gators right-handed pitcher Jackson Barberi. First pitch will be at 6:30, and you can hear all the action live on 10:10 a.m. Locally, the North Florida Ospreys men's baseball team head on the road for a 2-game road trip starting at Bethune-Cookman and look for their third midweek win of the 2025 season. UNF currently leads the all-time series 21-12 between the two teams. Starting on the mound for Bethune-Cookman will be Trevor Nicholas against Ospreys' Brandon Vasquez. Game time at 6. It's 67 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
I feel like it's part of our job to debunk things that go viral online or just rumors that go out online when it comes to the Jaguars and other teams that certainly we're close to. It feels like the moment that it was announced that the Rams were going to part ways with Cooper Kupp, so many different people linked Kupp to the Jaguars because, of course, James Gladstone was a part of the Rams and Liam Cohen has been a part of the Rams. I never got the sense that the Jags were interested in Cooper Kupp. And so when we saw, we haven't discussed this yet, but when we saw that Kupp got a 3-year deal worth $45 million to the Seahawks, to me it made perfect sense that the Jaguars weren't going to pay him that kind of money. Yeah. He is an older receiver, and it to me seems like if they wanted him, they would have got in on the Kupp action very early on. Yeah, and so certainly he was out there for a little while.
Yeah, and that's what I think we talked about it a tiny bit of what we were kind of expecting if we expected something to happen with Kupp, and I think all three of us were like, nah, it's just not a world we see. Number one, because I did think that he was going to be still making decent money, and I just didn't think the Jags were in a place where they wanted to pay somebody who that type of, a slot receiver when they just got rid of a slot receiver and the one that kind of has battled a lot of injuries. He's played one full season his entire career. So that's just something that I think that the Jags didn't want to really take a gamble on. And everything they told us in the beginning of wanting to build through the draft and really doing things that way has been how it's played out so far. So I just didn't see them wanting to spend the money or the years on a Cooper Kupp and his 9th year in the NFL.
Coupled with once the word got out that Cooper Kupp was still looking, despite the fact that he's only played one full season, and that was in 2021, 4 years ago, he was still looking for a contract somewhere in the ballpark of $13 to $15 million. Once hearing that price tag, look, at this point in time, and obviously a lot of the speculation surrounding Cooper Kupp, most of it occurred prior to James Gladstone meeting with reporters on Thursday, but certainly, again, this is a team that even prior to that public interaction, things on the record at the NFL Combine, it was stressed then, and it certainly was reinforced on Thursday, that this is a team that was in the process of trying to fine-tune where it is allocated dollars and cents. And to Taylor's point, if you're trying to allocate dollars and cents away from aging pass catchers, why would you then promptly throw even more money at another one?
Yeah.
Do you get the sense that Dyami Brown is going to be a big part of this offense? To me, what they've told us so far is that every guy that they brought here, they were very excited about, right? We got to see the video of Liam and James after they brought the 9 free agents in. Super happy about the haul that they got. To me, they were very intentional. That's the word that I'll use about this staff. They were very intentional on these guys. Because it's a 1-year deal, some people would look at it and say, oh, well, he's not going to be here for the long haul. I find myself very interested to see what this receiving core looks like between Brian Thomas Jr., Gabe Davis, and now Dyami Brown as well.
Well, obviously, James Gladstone in that video you're alluding to on the Jaguars YouTube page, Lauren, that is certainly noted that, and he also noted it with Happy Hour with John Ogier and JP. Was it JP or was it Lageman? Whoever it
Jeff
was.
Lageman.
Yeah, so it was with Jeff and JP. He alluded to the fact that Les Snead couldn't help but laugh when the Jaguars were the team that signed Dyami Brown, considering James Gladstone had a very high mark on him and a very high scouting report on him coming out of North Carolina. And so that's where I think that transparency certainly, yes, suggests that he was a priority and he will be a focal point of this offense. But the bigger note for me, especially on the news this morning of Juju Smith-Schuster staying with Kansas City, some of the most competitive teams in the National Football League in the last 4 to 5 years have these ex-wide receivers who are on 1 to 2 year deals, and their sole job, whether it's Smith-Schuster in Kansas City or Hollywood Brown there previously in Arizona, and certainly some of the mercenaries that we've seen some of these more veteran receivers become, their sole job is to open up the field and create space underneath for that true number one wide receiver. And obviously in Kansas City, they don't necessarily have a true number one wide receiver, although they'd love for Xavier Worthy to become that player, although I think he's more of an outside wide receiver as well. But it opens up opportunities for Travis Kelce. In Minnesota, they needed to get some speedsters on the outside to open things up for Justin Jefferson. And so that's what I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing by signing De'Ami Brown.
Yeah, and I also think it's James Gladstone and Liam Cohen figuring out exactly what they have, too. And the one-year deal gives that opportunity for him to be able to come in. And if he has a great season, great. You can figure out some contract stuff at the end of next season. If it doesn't work out the way you want it, you did bring another weapon in to try and help. And we've talked a ton about needing to give Trevor as much as possible so you can figure out really where he is, where his strengths are, and let Liam Cohen really start figuring that out. So by the time we're having these conversations next year, you know exactly, they know exactly, we know exactly what Trevor can and can't do and what strengths they really want to build off of. And I think that's an important thing right now, is just surrounding Trevor with as much as possible so you really can have the chance to see that, because we just haven't.
And I think, to me, I'm most excited that Liam Cohen's got the reins of this offense, right? Like, I don't know that Trevor's going to take the step that we've all expected him to take since he got to here in Jacksonville, but certainly he's going to be surrounded by guys that they believe, at least the staff believes, are guys that can elevate him, and he can elevate them as well. But Liam Cohen's idea of offense is so drastically different than what has been here that I think that's why the guys they're going to plug in along the offensive line, whoever else they're going to get at receiver, maybe running back, certainly tight end. Like, I guess I at least have faith that the system is going to be so much better that those guys don't have to be necessarily top tier guys. By the way, speaking of Kansas City, you do have to wonder if someone in that building thinks about if we had just had Tyreek Hill for like a few
here
more
I was
seasons.
thinking you were going to Gardner Minshew, since the text line lit up as soon as I mentioned the words Kansas City. Lauren Brooks,
He's
come
going to
on
win a
now.
Super Bowl like all the former Jets.
He is. I thought you were going to say that someone out there in the front office in Kansas City has immense respect for Dave Caldwell and his scouting acumen, because yet another former Dave disciple and Dave Pick is now headed to KC to be Patrick Mahomes' backup.
No, I was thinking about receivers. And if Tyreek Hill was still a Kansas City Chief, do they have at least one more Super Bowl? Like, that's what I wonder. People would say for this year's Super Bowl, it wasn't about the lack of receivers for Kansas City. They couldn't block. But Tyreek is so fast that maybe Patrick Mahomes could have gotten him the ball a little bit faster and they didn't need to block as long.
Well, and I think that is a part of it. And their line got worked the whole game. But if you have someone who like Tyreek Hill who can get open in a millisecond, then you have Patrick Mahomes who can get the ball out fast normally. Travis Kelce he's slowed down a lot, and we've seen that this whole season where he's just doesn't, not that he's ever been a super fast guy anyways, but it looked slow motion in times this year. And so he's not, it takes him a little longer to get open, and because of that, Patrick Mahomes was just getting worked the entire,
I don't want to get away from the wide receiver conversation, but we do have a bit of breaking news in the National Football League, especially as it relates to that open free agent market.
Now, breaking news.
Longtime Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham officially retiring right now after 15 seasons, all with Philadelphia, 82 total sacks, 24 forced fumbles, 2 Super Bowl rings. It was speculated whether or not he would try to latch on either via an extension with the Eagles, who have been handing out extensions left and right, or if he would seek out an opportunity on the open market. Instead, he had an impromptu press conference here this morning. I guess it was announced earlier this morning that there would be a press conference with Brandon in attendance. You probably connect the dots from there. What I love is Olivia Reiner, who's joined us before, writes for the Philadelphia Inquirer and covers the Eagles. She did a play-by-play of the photos. So at first, the press conference, everyone arrives about 33 minutes ago, and towels are placed on the dais. Then 2 Lombardis join the podium setup. And finally, someone put a box of tissues next to the microphone. And so at that point, about 6 minutes ago, if you didn't have any idea what was about to unfold, I think safe to say folks knew. Now, the boys of the drill this morning, Lauren and Taylor, were debating whether or not the Jaguars should be seeking a Brandon Graham, that veteran pass rusher, that edge 3 on the open market. And I think it does relate to our conversation surrounding De'Ami Brown, the wide receiver position, Cooper Kupp. The Jaguars were willing to give top dollar to a 30-year-old nickel corner, a veteran corner in Jordan Lewis, because they felt like they needed more veteran leadership in that room. And so, knowing you have Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker in the pass rusher room, we'll call it, knowing you have veteran defensive linemen, including Eric Armstead and Devon Hamilton, do you need to go out and acquire that veteran piece, especially if on the offensive side of the ball, you weren't willing to do that at wide receiver?
I would say no. I think that most of us know that the pass rush is something that they still need to focus on. A lot of it seems like it may be more interior, but we also talk about how the vast majority of pressures and sacks have come from two guys. And so, yeah, I think that having a veteran guy in the room wouldn't hurt, but I also think how much are you paying that guy, because you're going to be paying Trayvon pretty soon and you're already paying Josh Hines-Allen. So to me, it makes more sense to get somebody in the draft and have that person come in, be a rotational piece when you want to give Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker a little bit of a break and let those two guys help develop a young guy rather than bringing another big veteran personality into the room and thinking that you're going to pay him for minimal appearance on the field.
Yeah, it feels like they've told us, not just it feels like, that they're not going to
he literally told us, yes.
Literally, we played the clip last week, not going to add a veteran pass rusher.
Yeah.
So if you were wanting that, if you were hoping for that, just stop and wait for that to come in the draft. That's what it feels like. And so Azeez Ojulari as well signed with the Eagles on a 1-year, $4 million deal. The Eagles don't mind putting a veteran and guy in that rotation. And here in Jacksonville, it does feel like all the chips are in the basket of those two pass rushers, and help is going to come from the draft. Where exactly that comes, that's what we shall see. I don't expect that to be Abdul Carter at pick 5, but if it was that pick and they decided,
do you think they would do that?
I feel like if they did that, then they're sending us a message that they're going to do a lot more rotation in pass rusher.
Yeah.
Not the same type of hockey shift rotation that Ryan Nielsen did, but more rotation between those three guys.
I think it depends who else is on the board.
It would be, and I think that's a lot of it.
They'd auction
It would
the
be
pick
hard
off.
to say no to Abdul Carter, obviously, because when we talk about the blue chip players in this draft, he is one of the few that sit up there. But I do think it would depend who lands there. But it would be really hard, and it would be a conversation. I mean, you'd probably have in 3-4 years again, like we're still having the Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson conversation. It would still be one where maybe if they didn't go Abdul Carter and they went, let's say, Mason Graham or whatever the case may be, you would still say, okay, we found a player that's really good, but what if you had this guy? And it would be more of that type of conversation to me.
I also just come back to the conversations I had at the Combine of people who were in interviews with Abdul Carter, people who work for teams and were there in the room, and question marks that continued that already came into the NFL draft process of, he's a little bit of a prickly pear, if you may. I mean, he's a Penn State pass rusher, and if Micah Parsons is any proof, look, Micah Parsons is one of probably the 3 best sack getters in the National Football League right now. I don't think that can be argued. But at the same time, that personality of his doesn't fit every single locker room. Additionally, when he was coming out of Penn State, he was viewed as a chess piece. Abdul Carter's a little bit different. He's more of a traditional stand-up along the edge pass rusher. And so, yes, systematically, he may be an easier fit than Micah Parsons. You don't have to change everything you're doing to curtail to that player in terms of their playing prowess. But personality fit, does he raise the level of the ecosystem? Lauren, I have one more bit of breaking news that I was going to wait, but come on, Gator fans, you need another reason to celebrate.
Now, breaking news.
The first AP All-American in Florida men's basketball history is none other than Walter Clayton Jr. He is joined on the AP first team. Unanimous selections in Janai Broom of Auburn, Cooper Flagg of Duke, Alabama's Mark Sears, Purdue's Braden Smith, the other 2 members of that 5-man first team, all 5 of whom a certain AP voter seated at this table voted for.
Yeah, Walter Clayton Jr. deserves it. I think anyone who's watched any Florida basketball this season understands how important he is to this team. And look, a year ago, he wasn't the point guard. Zion Pullen was. People had questions. Would he be able to run the team and run the floor the way that Zion Pullen did and still be unselfish while creating his own shots? Well, he proved far and away. He can literally do it all. Todd Golden on record for saying he expects Walter Clayton Jr. to go in the first round of the NBA draft, that a team will have him and be excited to have him for the next 10 years. That's how good Golden thinks he is. And I'm excited for Walter Clayton Jr. and certainly the future. And hopefully he's got a national championship trophy before he goes to that NBA draft. All right, to wrap our Jaguars conversation for now, are you fully confident in Liam Cohen and this offense being able to raise the floor, since they love that term, but really raise the points per game from low 20s last year?
Low bar to clear. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Low bar to clear.
Fully confident
yes.
in that.
Yes.
Are you fully confident in Anthony Campanile's defense to be better than Ryan Nielsen's? It feels like another low bar to clear.
Low bar to clear.
Right.
I was about to say.
So, at this point, I'm not going to sit here and say the Jaguars are winning the Super Bowl. I'm not even going to say they're winning the AFC South. But a team that we thought should have won 10 games last year, if they can get to that 9-10 wins this year, maybe they do win the AFC South at that point in time. But it feels like we're talking about a completely different team, even though, again, that free agency class, people weren't doing cartwheels over.
Yeah, and I think that I predicted 9 wins last year, and to me, the roster right now in this point in time is worse than it was a few weeks ago, honestly. But I do think that what they'll address in the draft is going to change things drastically, and that's what I have faith in, is just the history of what Gladstone has been able to do in his career, but also what Liam Cohen's been able to bring out of players. And I told myself in January when all of this happened, I'm not going to get ahead of myself and jump on this, oh, we did it, everything's going to be perfect, and here I'm not doing that this year. I need to see actual change and product, and I'm going to need to see it on the field. But I do have faith in those two just because of their backgrounds and what we've seen them do in their other stops.
7-4-2, the defense is an even lower bar.
Yeah, it really is.
18.8 points per game. I said low 20s. I was wrong. 18.8 points per game last year offensively, and then allowed 20.1 points per game defensively. It felt like way more than that. I think it's because the yards were so bad. And then sometimes they would keep teams to low scoring. Like, for instance, the Vikings game last year, the Vikings didn't score, more than 12 points?
Yeah.
But overall, I was trying to look at it holistically. We spent so much time last week, obviously, on the free agents and the players tournament. And I wanted to look at it more from that big picture view of where do we see this team offensively, defensively stacking up compared to last year. And again, the draft, we still have that as well. And it's going to be fascinating to see what the Jaguars do at pick number 5. Our highlights are on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 10 to Next on 92.5 FM.
Feel the downforce of 100 horses.
Everybody in the crowd on their feet.
This Sunday at Miami.
Wow!
NASCAR is revved up by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234 and 1010XL.
Lauren Brooks here. At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And get this, all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them online at HodgesMazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Need fresh and flavorful lunch? Chicken Salad Chick has scratch-made Southern-style chicken salad in every bite. It's quick and delicious, so why wait? Come taste the best chicken salad today at Town Center, Durbin Park, or Butler Point at Chicken Salad Chick.
Prosser here. No matter what you do, man, you love consistency. And when it comes to selling your home for Chad and Sandy, good times are bad. They're there to help you, and you're going to get the most that you can. The economy actually showing positive signs. Now may be the time to sell your home at the price you want. And it's easy to find out. Get friendly expert help from the Jacksonville agents who are there for you. My agents, Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you need more space with a growing family or working from home. Whatever your reasons, Chad and Sandy come through for you as the local real estate experts I trust and recommend. Chad and Sandy, in fact, will guarantee you this. Your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. John and Ursula in Green Meadow said, I was not in great health, so we decided to downside to an easier place to manage. First, we needed to sell our Green Meadows home fast. Unfortunately, after 185 days, our home failed to sell. With another realtor, we made the switch, though, to Chad and Sandy. Sold it in 12 days. You can, too. Go to ChadAndSandy.com or call 414-6200.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town, setting the standard in our hometown. Quality service, the best around. Coolidge is the cat that cares about your heating and about your air. Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cat
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Out with the old, in with the organized. Mia here for my friends at Closets by Design. Freshen up your home this spring with a custom organization solution. For a limited time, take advantage of our spring special and enjoy exclusive savings on closets, garages, home offices, and more. That's 40% off with an additional 15% off with 12-month special financing through April. Spring on this deal before it's gone. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation with Closets by Design.
Put your best foot forward and score 60 minutes of soccer insight on the Sporting Jack Soccer Hour. Join Cole Pepper, Mauricio Ruiz, and Becky Burley for Soccer Talk.
Tuesday nights at 6
on 1010 a.m.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me. If you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Yeah, here's to the boys back home drinking Duro beers on a Friday night. Yeah, I'm wishing I was with y'all singing them all songs. Truck circled up around a farm fire. Let's go.
Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. This is the Dylans. I've told you before I love this song. Dylan Marlowe and Dylan Scott, a song called Boys Back Home. Dylan Marlowe comes to town in the month of June. He is opening for Bailey Zimmerman at the AMP in St. Augustine. I think that concert's going to be very fun. I don't have tickets yet, but I'm one of those people that looks almost like every day and is like, should I pull the trigger
Do it
yet?
now.
And probably at some point this week I'll make that decision.
Yeah, I love both. I just recently started listening to both the Dylans, and I like both of them a lot. So I already like Bailey Zimmerman, so I feel like that'll be. Is it just that it's Dylan and Bailey? Just them?
There might be someone else that opens before Dylan, because I feel like nowadays they've gone from
Like
the
a-
two
to a
traditionally
third
to now a
now.
third.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there might be someone else, but those are the two that I was most excited about. So maybe I'll wrangle you into going to that concert.
Before we get to our Heels highlights, did want to hit one off the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures following our conversation about your Jacksonville Jaguars, which, of course, you can get in on the conversation at 904-641-1010. Can also leave a comment in the YouTube digital studio. This is from 718. Ladies, I thought Gladstone made two really shrewd moves. First, signing Jordan Lewis, which improves communication in the secondary, and then hiring the analytics VP, who is under Tony Khan's chief of football strategy. Way to increase the synergy between departments, Jimmy. Watching the alignments develop even further. What do you say, ladies? Thank you, Charles, for that comment. I will tell you that as soon as the report was out there that the Jaguars hired Jake Teme from the Rams as Senior Vice President of Football Analytics, I had multiple people blowing up my phone. I was walking around the players with my dad on Friday, and all of a sudden I feel my phone buzzing. Once again, much like the courtship of James Gladstone, an eventual hire for him as general manager of your Jaguars, unsolicited, so many people around the league coming to the support of the newest Jacksonville Jaguar member of the front office, our friend Jordan Rodriguez of The Athletic, noting that Teme isn't just an analytics program and code expert, but of course was the one who helped create that JAARS program that measures intangibles.
And we still don't have Jordan's results. I feel like we let her down day in and day out.
We have dropped the ball. We really need to. James Gladstone, if you're listening, I am coming for the results for our friend Jordan Rodriguez.
Yeah, obviously James Gladstone is going to be a guy that's going to be focused on analytics. He's mentioned that. I think we all know, too, that his background lends itself to that. And so, yeah, having another analytical mind is a great thing. Just please tell me that means that if you're not a good short yardage team, you're not going to go for it on 4th and 1 and 4th and 2 all the time. Hopefully your analytics can tell you that that's not your best plan of action. By the way, one other NFL note, Ronald Darby headed to the Texans on a 1-year, $2.5 million deal. When I told Brian that news yesterday, he goes, yes.
Yeah.
And I think that means, the Jags receivers can maybe attack.
Take advantage
if Darby's on the field, they can maybe take advantage of him. Didn't have, obviously, the best season here. And I did want to also mention, Azeez Al-Jalari is not Azeez Al-Shair.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Very
the moment
different.
some people hear Azeez, they automatically think of the cheap shot artist that had that hit on Trevor here at Everbank Stadium. Completely different guy.
Yes.
And Azeez Al-Shair, still with the Texans. Al-Jalari is the one going to the Eagles. All right, time now to hit our highlights.
Now, Heels highlights. Unbelievable! On 1010XL.
Somebody wrote a clip.
Shota Imanado collects the first strikeout of the 2025 season and Dansby Swanson with the first hit of the 2025 season.
Getting ready. 2 cut on a miss, strike 3. Shota Imanaga. Dansby hits it up the middle and it's into center field for a base hit. First hit for the Cubs in 2025. It's courtesy of Dansby Swanson here in the second.
Chucky Hepburn at the buzzer for Louisville. This is March, folks.
Hepburn, first team All-ACCer. Out for Edwards. 5 to shoot. 5 in the game. Edwards, no foul. Missed it. Rebound on Carr. Oh, Hepburn! No! He hit it!
A 10. Actually make that 3 perfect 10s for Florida gymnastics.
Yeah, the very first meet, that quad meet, was her best of the season. And she's been good throughout the rest of the season, but just never had a vault like that first one, and that beats it. Just the dismount, round off 1.5. Perfectly stuck landing from Selena Harris-Miranda. She has not had a 10 on this event. There was the final pass. Perfect finish. There have been some high scores on floor so far for Florida. This could be a 10 for Leanne Wong.
The legend of Leanne grows.
In her final performance.
My only complaint about Florida gymnastics is the SEC schedule came out as far as the SEC championship is concerned. It is Saturday. The first wave is 3:30. The second wave is 8 p.m. The top 4 teams go in the second wave. That means my gymnastics will not begin until 8 p.m. on Saturday. It's Central Time because it's in Birmingham, Alabama, but still. But yeah, Florida coming off of a fantastic senior night.
That was their final regular season.
Regular season one was this past Friday. And everybody, you could feel the energy in the O'Connell Center. Everybody knew that it was going to be an amazing night. Someone like Leanne Wong, who's obviously been such an important Gator. And to come out with a 10, you also heard Selena Harris-Miranda. She had a 10. So Leanne's 10 was on floor. Selena's was on beam. And then Danny Ferris, unbelievable, had such a great vault, and she got a 10. And you don't ever see 10s on vault this season. They've changed the way that the structure of the judging is, but yeah, congrats to them. And so, yeah, I'll certainly talk more about that next week after this week's SEC championships, and then we'll find out the format as far as the schedule, I should say, for Florida gymnastics in the NCAA tournament. Let's start from this morning at 6 a.m. Taylor Dahl, were you awake?
I was not awake. No, I was not.
I thought you would be for sure.
No,
I think St. Patrick's Day might have had
affected it a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not a morning person whatsoever. It's hard for me to get up at 6 a.m. for anything, even baseball. But yeah, Cubs lost 4-1. I also probably would have been pretty mad if I would have woke up at 6 a.m. and they lost 4-1 and had 3 hits. But it's still fun, obviously. Yamamoto v. Imanaga, so that's fun because obviously they're in Japan. And then Shohei did Shohei things, both drove in 2 runs. But it's just baseball's back. Even though I was telling Dempsey, I was like, it does feel kind of weird because it's like this weird, obviously early game, but then we have another 5 games in between that don't count, and so it doesn't feel real, but it does. Like, we're 0-1, so that's part of it. But Matt Shaw, who there's been a lot of discussions. He's one of the younger guys. Looks like he's going to be the Cubs' third baseman. Had a terrible throw to first base, and now that was like the one highlight everybody kept showing because it was just, probably 10 feet away from actual first base. So
low light.
That was, not exactly how you want to start it, but I feel
tomorrow
like
morning, one more game,
another
first pitch,
at 6 a.m.
10 a.m. Okay.
Yeah. And then they fly back and then have one day in between and then the 5 spring training games and then kind of get restarted when everybody else kicks it off. But baseball season's here and that's what matters.
That is very exciting if you're a Dodgers fan.
Yeah.
They obviously coming off of a great season and then open the season with a win. And then Louisville had a buzzer beater. Louisville's not happy about being an 8 seed like we talked about yesterday. They feel like they should be higher than that because Clemson got a 5th seed. But at the end of the day, at least they're not on the outside looking in.
Oh, and also, Lauren, they're going to play in Lexington at Rupp Arena, 1 hour from home. Like, I understand why Louisville feels slighted, especially because they beat Clemson in the ACC tournament to advance to the final. Clemson's a 5 seed, although I'm not so sure Clemson's happy with their draw because a lot of people are predicting them to get upset. And I understand the why Louisville fans are upset. But number one, you won as many games this year in the ACC as you did the last 2 years combined and then some. And secondly, you now have the opportunity to play in your own backyard at Little Brother, if you may. Ha, ha, ha. Sorry, Kentucky fans. Sorry, Foye, if you're listening. You get to play at Little Brother's house an hour away. If anything, if there was any 8 seed draw that you could get, this was ideal. But no, I included that in our highlights just because anytime there's a buzzer beater, I will be playing it here on the Superstation because I am addicted to buzzer beaters in the month of March. Rest in peace, the Twitter account, the X account. What was it? It was called... what was it called? With the hoops. They'd play Titanic Hoops. They would play the My Heart Will Go On as the buzzer beater.
All the buzzers,
yes, except unfortunately the account was suspended because of copyright. And if you go on YouTube, there was a good stretch there between like 2015 to 2017, 2018, where there were tons of these beautiful videos and these beautiful montages. And now they're all off the face of the internet, and it breaks my heart.
So sad.
So maybe over the power of terrestrial radio over the next 3 weeks, RJ, we may need to recreate Titanic Hoops. I actually may or may not have changed a bar in the wonderful city of Cedar Rapids. Their last song of the night, if only during the spring, is now My Heart Will Go On, because I literally, when Michigan upset Houston in 2017, demanded that they play it because that had just happened. So
it's
shout
funny.
out Bricks.
It's funny. There's a Twitter that also does the same thing for bat flips. And I think that one got taken down too.
Come on, man.
I
Like,
know.
let us have some fun.
I know.
I just want to hear My Heart Will Go On over a beautiful buzzer beater March Madness moment, NCAA tournament beautifulness.
Do you remember in 2013 when Louisville was playing in the Elite Eight and Kevin Ware went down with that awful gruesome injury?
Yep.
For some reason, that's just when you mentioned Louisville and the tournament, that's just all of a sudden I can never get that image out of my head. That moment that happened, it was terrible.
Hey, who was the head coach of Louisville back then?
Wasn't that Patino?
Yes, it was. What a difference a decade plus makes, folks.
For real. All right, we will get it to some college basketball, or keep it on college basketball when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Nothing's happening.
Be patient.
I don't know. It's not responding.
Wait for it.
1010XL. 1010XL.
See? There you go.
Jags fans, here's your chance to score a trip to Green Bay for round 1 of draft night. Through the Everbank Draft Night Experience Sweepstakes, one lucky winner and a guest will be there live and in person to see the Jaguars make their first pick. To enter, visit everbank.com/draft by April 4th. That's everbank.com/draft. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry period from 3/3/25 to 4/4/25. For official rules, prize description, odds of winning, and other details, visit everbank.com/draft. Sponsor and administrator, Everbank N.A.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here. In the past 10 years, the weight loss industry has seen it all. New medications, fad diets, sculpting, and still, Awaken 180 continues to stand alone as the proven solution for weight loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Your tax refund is here. Why not invest in your home? Superior Fence and Rail helps you build value with beautiful, durable fences that boost your home security, privacy, and curb appeal. With expert installation and financing options, turning your yard into an outdoor oasis is easier than ever. Reinvest in your home today with Superior Fence and Rail.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On March 18, 2001, Indiana Pacers' Reggie Miller becomes the first player in NBA history to accumulate 2,000 three-pointers after hitting 4 in a win over Sacramento.
Hello, I'm attorney Malcolm Anthony. Being charged with domestic violence can turn your life upside down. If you're in trouble, call me Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
Golf lovers, listen up. UF Health Jacksonville is bringing you an exciting day on the greens with their inaugural Golf Classic Friday, April 25th at Amelia River Club. It's your chance to tee up for a cause supporting Northeast Florida's premier academic health center while enjoying a top-notch golf experience. Sponsorships are available. Whether you're looking to showcase your brand or just play a great round of golf for a great cause, now's the time to get involved. Visit ufhealthjacks.org/golf to learn more.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process that golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World,
simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
When you hear Florida Gators baseball on 1010XL, it's brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators, and Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Are you an experienced chiller technician and looking for a role where your skills are truly valued? It's time to make the move to Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. You'll get top pay, comprehensive health and welfare benefits for your family, and a pension that doesn't come out of your pocket. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hey, Doll. Leah O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Great job, as always, RJ, putting those highlights together. And apologies in advance to Jim, our Healigan Jim. They were fairly obvious as to what we were taking, I think.
I mean, the Cubs won, but, Cubs,
gymnastics, and basketball.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
It was
Process
fairly
of
obvious. But you know what?
I picked Louisville. That's, out of my normal workshop,
anything
wheelhouse.
basketball. And I obviously thought about picking Florida basketball, but we played the whole montage that RJ put together yesterday. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll play some more as we have Zach Abolverdi on.
I didn't have any Victor Hovland highlights to show, so
because there were none.
No Victor Hovland, no Ludwig Gobert, none of those, that's for sure. All right, let's get into college basketball. Mia's got some stats for us.
I do indeed. I don't want to spoil the video we're going to be dropping here around 1 o'clock on the 1010XL social channels. However,
too bad.
A couple of these stats, which now I realized after I showed the illustrious Graham Marsh and Taylor was in the office, I went, well, some of these are no longer going to be a surprise for Taylor now, but they will be for many of you Healigans out there. And as I was going through these stats, putting together this video, tips for your bracket, which even if you've already filled out one, come on, we know you're going to fill out another one, or you're going to change the current one that you have. As I was going through these tips, these trends we've seen over the last 35 years, I felt like one of these I could not pass up as a little Imagine.
Imagine with Closets by Design.
Imagine your home totally organized.
Oh, yes. Our friends from Closets by Design can organize whatever dream space you are looking to organize, whether that's your master closet like me, whether that's your kitchen pantry, your garage. If you can imagine it, Closets by Design can help you make it a reality. Speaking of imagining here, imagine for a second, folks. Week 6 of the AP poll. Way back in December. Football was still going on at this point. But what if I told you that for the last 36 years, week 6 of the AP Top 25 in men's basketball can tell us who is winning the national championship that year? The top 12 from the week 6 of the AP poll has provided us with the national champion in 35 of the last 36 college basketball tournaments, the exception being Syracuse in 2002. So, who is in the top 12 this year? Who are the 12 teams in the field that, hey, they have a chance to win the national championship, if only because of this way too quirky stat? Tennessee, Auburn, Iowa State, Duke, Kentucky, Marquette, Alabama, Florida, Gonzaga, Kansas, Purdue, and Oregon. And now let's further pare this down a little bit. Since 2002, every national champion has had a top 40 offense, according to the Ken Pomeroy metric, and has had a top 25 defense, according to Ken Pom. Of those 12 teams, just 4 of them have a top 40 offense and a top 25 defense. Those 4 teams: Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Iowa State. Now, let me throw 2 more little stats at you to further narrow this down to help you Heeligans know who is going to win the national championship in 3+ weeks' time.
Iowa State, it's missing a couple players, right?
They are. They're missing Keyshawn Gilbert, although he's missed a couple different moments throughout the season, and some people are wondering if that is solely injury-related or maybe a coach's decision. But yes, he will miss the duration of the NCAA tournament.
And Cooper Flagg should be back.
Cooper Flagg should be back this weekend. No official word just yet on Grant Nelson for Alabama, but the expectation is he will, quote, be back for the weekend, as vague as that is. So of those 4 teams, Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Iowa State, no team has ever won the national championship having entered the NCAA tournament having lost 3 of its last 4 games. Auburn has lost 3 of its last 4 games. So that leaves us with 3 teams: Duke, Florida, and Iowa State, that could win the national championship, if only by these quirky metrics. With one exception, no team has ever won the national title when they come from a conference with 4 or less bids in the NCAA tournament. That one exception is last year. UConn won the national title despite being one of just 3 teams from the Big East in the field. Duke plays in the ACC. Just 4 teams in the field. So if we want to go off the long-term history, you can toss Duke out as well. And so that leaves you 2 teams, both of whom I have covered over the last decade, and I promise this is nothing to do with personal bias, but the Florida Gators and the Iowa State Cyclones, if only by these wacky metrics. Imagine for a second, folks, if we just spelled out for you who the national champion will be.
I'd love it if it's especially the first of those 2 teams.
Yeah.
And I do feel like Florida is a team that, as we've detailed all season long, started off kind of slow against USF and got to see them in person. Olivier Roux is incredibly tall at 7'9". That was fun, but obviously decided not to play this season. They started off slow that game, and then they've only had a few moments where I think Gator fans had to be really nervous about the team overall. Yes, the injuries, but I mean, as far as like how they actually played.
Yeah.
And it's been such an incredibly fun season to see their personalities come to life too. And I don't watch Duke week in and week out, right? I don't watch every snap of Iowa State, obviously, or Houston, or I've seen a lot of Auburn, a lot of Alabama, for sure, a lot of Tennessee. But to see the personalities of these guys and the way Todd Golden's been able to construct the team, I do think that even if you're not a Gators fan, you could root for this Gators team. That's my personal opinion. And maybe part of that's because some of them are transfers and they were not highly recruited out of high school. And so they've really had to work their way. Some of them are a guy like Alex Condon. Nobody even knew who he was. Ruben Chinyelu, another transfer. I was thinking about the guards earlier as far as being not highly recruited, but Chinyelu, who is just, out there. I tweeted out he's a grown man on Sunday during the game because the way he rebounds, the way he can dunk, obviously, as well, boxes out. Like, he's incredible. So every personality, I feel like, of these guys, the Thomas Hawks of the world as well, like, they're just fun to watch. And I understand if you're a Knowles fan or if you're a Dogs fan, like, you're never going to root for Florida under any circumstances. But the people who don't have allegiances to other schools that are rivals, I feel like they could root for Florida.
Well, my dad is one of them.
All right.
And
welcome to the team,
He did
Walt.
safely, Silent Walt, safely arrived back in New Jersey yesterday. No delays, unlike my poor brother when he had his quite the experience getting to and from Jacksonville a few weeks ago. But he texted me in his little thank you text. He said, outside of Duke, which is who he roots for, even though my mom has bashed Duke for most of my life, outside of Duke, he really hasn't watched a ton of college basketball this year. And he thanked Kevin and I because he truly enjoyed watching not only all the basketball that we have on our beautiful TV setup, but because he truly enjoyed watching Florida, the 2 games that he was able to watch with us, because as a former basketball player, he just couldn't help but watch them and feel like they do all those little things that your coach used to yell at you about when you were in middle school or high school. And my dad's a CPA, so he's very type A. And so for him, he prides himself in doing those little things right, the things that are in the margins.
Yeah, he has to. Or else.
Yeah, literally. Offensive rebound.
The IRS will come
literally. Offensive rebounding, loose balls, boxing out.
I mean,
little things like that. He was like, that's what this team does well. And
the screens,
right,
they do a great job of
valuing the possession, valuing defense over offense, which, I pointed out to him. And you remember this well, Lauren. Like, Todd Golden was extremely vocal this offseason about the reason that we lost. And, I mean, look, the final score indicates that you lost to a Colorado team that put up 100 points in an NCAA tournament game. And that was in regulation. Like, you tell me in terms of the defensive
efficiency. You just
efficiency.
lost Ham Logton, who was such a critical part of your defense, too, with the rebounding and being able to block shots and things like that.
But still, you gave up over 100 points in the first round of the NCAA tournament to a team that had played in the first 4. And so that's where I think the fact that Todd Golden said, we are going to pride ourselves on defense and we are going to go into the portal and we are going to bring in the next generation of Gator basketball players, and they are going to care about defense, and they actually did that. It's commendable.
Elijah Martin, to me, if you want to see the poster child of improved defense and toughness, it's Elijah Martin. And he knows what it takes, too, because he's been to a Final Four.
And it's interesting. We say it a lot, even in the football world, of sometimes you have to go back to the fundamentals. And I think that's what Todd Golden has been able to do. And that's why we've seen so many of these players throughout this season just get better and better throughout. And he's been able to develop some of these guys, to your point, that we weren't talking about even a year ago. And so I think that is a big part of it. And I remember we were having a conversation early in the season, Lauren, and it must have been after one of the losses where, I was asking what exactly went wrong in this specific game. And one of the things you were talking about is when just kind of what should have been patience wasn't patience. And you were talking about when they're dribbling, they're not making decisions quick enough when they're coming, when they're at half court and they're deciding that. That's something that I think we've seen slowly kind of develop out of them. And it's one of the bad traits that you pointed out early, and they've started leaning away from that or shying away from that.
Yeah, certainly it's not because I said it, but I do appreciate it. Only happened once that I can recall in the SEC tournament where Denzel Aberdeen had the ball and he picked up his dribble.
Yeah.
And he picked it up in a bad spot on the floor and ended up being a turnover. That was one thing that, yes, multiple guards would do that. And it drove me nuts because if you don't have help right there, you can't pick up your dribble. And so I appreciate that they went back went back and watched the film, and they really honed in on improving that. And like I said, I can only recall one time during the SEC tournament this past weekend that they did that.
All right, you had to yell at them.
Exactly. I don't think I yelled at that point because Florida was fairly up on Tennessee. I'll add one stat to Mia's stats to help you all fill out your brackets. 88% of Final Four teams were in the top 50 in both adjusted offense and adjusted defense. 88% of the Final Four teams since the year 2002 were in top 50 in both adjusted offense and adjusted defense. So as we go through the bracket in the South, that's Auburn, Michigan State, Iowa State, Texas A&M. That's a tough bracket. In the East, Duke, Alabama, Wisconsin, and Arizona.
Okay, the 1 through 4 seeds in both.
Yep. Midwest, Houston, Tennessee, Gonzaga, Clemson. And in the West, Florida, Texas Tech, and Maryland. Those are the only ones that, again, according to the stats based off of going back to 2002, and thanks to Dalton Cates for doing that research on X, 88% of the Final Four teams would be coming from those teams that I just listed. Yeah, so that'll help you.
I have a couple, too. One of them was the last 32 champs had more assists than turnovers during the tournament. Another one is 31 of the last 32 champs had a head coach with Sweet 16 experience. The 2014 UConn Huskies was the one that was not.
Exception. Yeah. The 2014 UConn the 2014 UConn
had a
team,
lot of exceptions.
They were, yeah. When it goes to 95% of national champions, to Mia stat earlier, have been ranked 21st or better in adjusted offensive efficiency. The only outlier was UConn in 2014. And, of course, that's a stab to Gator fans' hearts because that was a team that beat Florida early in December. That was like the last loss Florida had, because then Florida went undefeated in the SEC. That was the Patrick Young team.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in the NCAA tournament, UConn beat Florida again to knock Florida out. So that, like I said, brings back painful memories. But hopefully this year, if Florida plays UConn, they can rewrite history. All right, when we return, we will keep it on Florida basketball. We'll chat with Zach Abolverdi. I also want to ask him about the quarterback, DJ Lagway, and that injury scare that's going around. You're listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
Now he's going to run. It's a draw. He's across the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
I'm Mark Brunell on 1010XL.
Home of the Jaguars.
You know, Mr. Chubby's Wings is giving away free beer again this year for the Madness Tournament. Do they really give you a free pint of Miller Lite for each game you pick right? Yes, all you got to do is fill out your bracket now at 1010XL.com. The overall winner gets tickets to Welcome to Rockville on Saturday. But for free beer, just download your bracket, print it out, and bring it into any Mr. Chubby's Wings location during the games. Every game you pick right, you get a free beer.
Go to 1010XL.com now. It's the free beer Chubby Madness Bracket Challenge. See Mr. Chubby's Wings Facebook for full contest details.
Out with the old, in with the organized. Mia here. Whether you're tackling overflowing closets, a messy garage, or an unorganized pantry, Closets by Design will create a custom storage system that helps you breeze through spring season stress and mess-free. Spring on this deal before it's gone, folks. Get 40% off any order of $1,000 or more, 30% off any order of $700 to $1,000, plus an additional 15% off. Oh, and did I mention free installation on any order of $850 or more? Call Closets by Design today. 1-800-293-3744.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
Are you thinking about a pool for your home? Blue Haven Pools is Jacksonville's largest pool builder. They've built pools for over 20,000 satisfied families since 2000. It's never been easier to design the perfect pool for your home, family, and budget. Call Blue Haven Pools today at 904-620-0090 to get a free in-home estimate for your in-ground pool, or visit bluehaven.com. Don't let another summer pass by without a pool. Join thousands of happy Jacksonville pool owners in a Blue Haven pool.
Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists congratulating our Scholar Athlete of the Week, Amelia Tucker, senior varsity track and field and soccer player at Wilson High. Amelia is involved with student government and is a member of the National Honor Society. Congratulations, Amelia.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Youth sports at the YMCA's focus on teamwork, discipline, and building confidence. Our experienced coaches can create a positive and supportive environment where your kids can grow, stay active, and develop a love for sports. Sports like basketball, volleyball, swimming, gymnastics, and even elite skills training. Join the fun and register. Give your kids a chance to be a part of something special. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Tired of supermarket produce that's traveled thousands of miles before you get it? Treat your family to farm-fresh, Florida-grown fruits and veggies delivered right to your home with Doorbell Farms. No supply chain issues or questionable origins, just seasonal produce hand-picked from local farmers. Subscribe monthly and enjoy the best local farm produce delivered right to you. Sign up now at doorbellfarms.com. Connecting real people to real family farms. Doorbellfarms.com.
Looking for adventure? Need a machine that works as hard as you do? CF Moto has you covered. At Ride Now Beach Boulevard, we've got CF Moto ATVs and UTVs built for any task, any trail, anytime. Tear up the dirt with the trail-tested C-Force ATV lineup or conquer through terrain with a Z-Force UTV. Find your CF Moto ride today at Ride Now Beach Boulevard or visit ridenowbeachboulevard.com. ATVs and UTVs are for riders 16 and older. They can be hazardous to operate. CF Moto recommends an improved safety training course.
Jacksonville runs on dreams, and Haymaker Coffee is a local brand fueling the next generation. Keep each day strong with a Haymaker. Fuel for the morning hustle, the late night, and every step of the way. Bold flavors for the bold city. Online at haymakercoffeeco.com.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Lone Pronto. After winning their first SEC tournament title in over a decade, the Florida Gators men's basketball team have jumped up to the number 3 spot in the latest AP poll, moving them up a spot from last week. Despite being a lower 1 seed in the tournament, the Gators finished ranked ahead of the SEC regular season champions and top seed of the NCAA tournament, Auburn. Ahead of the tournament, Gators head coach Todd Golden believes the Gators are playing like the best team in America, knowing that the battle isn't over yet.
Really, I just think we continue to prove what we have been all season, being one of the best teams in America. You know, continuing to show that we can beat anybody in America. Playing like this, I think we are the best team in America, and we got to keep going. Obviously, that can change, at any time, and we got to have the mental toughness to keep pushing through and not be content and not be satisfied with what we've done to this point. This was a huge goal of ours to come here and get an SEC tournament championship. We still have a lot left to do here, going into March and playing for the NCAA tournament as well.
It's 69 degrees at 12:59 time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
If I could buy a house on memory lane, I'd put my money
Earlier about a country concert I want to go to at the Amp. This is another country concert I want to go to. I've seen Old Dominion a few times. They've been through here a few times, but one of the opening acts we've talked about, Taylor, Red Farron, who kind of sounds like Morgan Wallen. I really want to see him.
He sounds like Morgan Wallen a lot.
Really sounds like him. Yeah. We talked about him one day, like when our show first started, and we played one of the songs, and I remember people texting and being like, wait, who was that? I loved him. So another good concert.
The Amp is just the best.
By the way, they're back-to-back. Old Dominion's at Daly's Place Friday, June 6th, and then the following week, Bailey Zimmerman's at the Amp, both a Thursday and a Friday. They added another date to that one.
Because it probably sold out quick?
Yep,
Yeah.
it sold out so fast.
I'm just glad that Old Dominion is back to being in the summer like it was 2 years ago. They were in the summer because there was a good stretch there where consistently they were at the Amp, and it was always the weekend the Jags were in London. And of course, I was still working in local TV at that time, and so someone had to hold down the fort at the local TV station, and I never got to go, and it was very disappointing. So I'm glad it's moved a little bit in terms of the calendar.
All right, we were just chatting about Florida Gators men's basketball. We will continue that conversation with Zach Abolverdi of Gators Online. He is the senior writer. And Zach, before we get to comments that Todd Golden just made that you were present for, I want to ask you about DJ Lagway, the quarterback, because, of course, a ton of fans out there are a little concerned about the shoulder injury for young DJ.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a bummer to have your, returning starting quarterback not be able to go through spring, at least in full capacity. I mean, he's out there and he's doing simulated throws and dropbacks, but he's just not throwing any passes. And, especially the way that he ended last year, kind of wanting to build off that momentum and that 4-game winning streak. But I do know from speaking to people around the program that there isn't necessarily any concern from UF about his injury. It's just more of a precaution thing, and they want to make sure that he doesn't aggravate his shoulder anymore, and so that he can be 100% for the fall. But it just, everybody wants to see him out there slinging that thing, and it's not happening right now.
Zach, as far as other notes from the football front before we get into what Todd Golden had to say today, and of course the Gators draw as the 4th number 1 seed in this year's NCAA tournament, I'm curious, as far as Florida football right now, besides the obvious with DJ Lagway, what's the biggest storyline for you as the spring progresses?
Honestly, how things come together on defense. I mean, I think we know at this point what the starting offense is going to look like. I think the few starters that they do have to replace, it kind of seems like it's obvious who those replacements are going to be. But for me on the defensive side, there's more starters to replace, but more importantly, a lot of returning starters are out injured. And some big names too, like, Caleb Banks, Pup Howard, several guys in the secondary that are starters for them. So unfortunately, you're not getting a full sense of what the defense can be and will be this year. However, that does give them an opportunity to kind of really see what their depth looks like and maybe what the pecking order is going to be and some of the rotations at those positions. So we'll find a lot about this defense and kind of the personnel that they have, and maybe even more importantly, if there is any room to add players in the spring portal, what positions they might need to do that at.
Zach, let's get into March Madness now. I know this is a lot of people's favorite time of year. Yeah, we tell us a little bit. Obviously, you just heard Todd Golden speak, and so what were his thoughts on the seeding, the draw for Florida, and just some of the takeaways from today?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Florida gets the 1 seed, and I think that at this point, kind of going into the end of last week, I think the expectation was that they were going to end up in the West region. I do think that Florida made the argument after the results of the SEC tournament that they should have maybe gotten a higher seed than Auburn. I mean, if it would have played out like the AP poll where Florida ended up number 3 and Auburn ended up number 1, I don't think anybody thinks Auburn shouldn't have got a 1 seed. But we know from following the tournament all these years that it seems like these kind of spots are set in stone going into conference weekend, and it would take something drastic to usually change the pecking order there. So I don't think anybody, including Golden, is upset about where Florida ended up, and they got a 1 seed at the end of the day. So now, obviously, the goal for them and what they have to do is kind of, flush that SEC tournament title, which they made sure that they took the time to celebrate the past couple days. But now they got to gear up for Raleigh, and what's going to be a Norfolk State matchup that first game, and if they can advance, they're either going to face a UConn team that's had a lot of success the past few years, or an Oklahoma team that they've already played once this season. So they've already kind of turned the page now, but still, I think, beaming a little bit from that weekend in Nashville.
As well, they should be, Zach, considering the competition that they beat. How much diving in on Norfolk State have you done?
To be honest, I have not. I'm just trying to catch my breath after all this traveling. I do know that, our other writer, one of our other writers at Gators Online, Keith Niebuhr, had a great piece kind of looking at them and what Florida fans need to know about that matchup. But look, let's be honest. I mean, coming off of the way that the tournament went for Florida last year in the first round exit, and then how elite this year's group has been, I don't think it mattered who you put in front of Florida as a 16 seed. They got to get it done that first game. Obviously the goals and aspirations for them are much higher than making it to the second round. But I think that's the first step, is kind of getting over that hump and getting to the round of 32 and then going on from there.
Zach Abolverdi of Gators Online, kind enough to join us ahead of the Gators' first-round NCAA tournament game later this week in Raleigh. Zach was on site in Nashville for the SEC Tournament Championship as well. Zach, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this roster itself. when it comes to the rotations, one point that a couple folks here at 1010XL have made, and by a couple folks, I mean the illustrious Graham Marsh, what he alluded to is that this is a Florida team that, not that it reached its ceiling in January, but almost the string of injuries that forced Thomas Haug to be much more instrumental in the rotation. Obviously, Denzel Aberdeen playing more of a critical role. It actually elevated their ceiling, which is something you don't really see in the sport all that often. And so I'm curious what sort of rotation, especially obviously knowing Michael Hanlogden has his sea legs largely back under him, what sort of rotation are you expecting to see Ty Golden roll out this weekend?
I mean, honestly, I expect them to kind of stick with what they used at the SEC tournament. And obviously, with Micah back in the lineup, he is, a returning starter from a year ago. I don't ever expect him to end up in the starting lineup this season. I think that the way that Ruben has kind of set the tone in the front court with Alex Condon is kind of how they want to continue to move forward. And obviously, Thomas Howe has been just incredible. And he's going to probably be your first big off the bench in every single game, and then Denzel Aberdeen, like you mentioned, is going to be their first guard off the bench. The only interesting thing that we'll monitor here this first weekend, and then potentially the rest of the tournament, is how maybe Sam Alexis fits into the rotation once he is back healthy. He was supposed to play in the SEC tournament coming off of an ankle injury, and then he actually twisted it again in practice leading up to the trip to Nashville. So he had somewhat of a setback. Obviously, it's not holding Florida back, not having him part of that lineup. I think the other thing that all those injuries that you mentioned and kind of how they had to play with their lineup there, it really created a role for Urban Klavzar. He was not really in the mix at all. And then once they needed some guys to step up in their backcourt, he was a guy that showed that he could be a three-point weapon, is honestly played better defense than I thought that he would be. And he's just another sharpshooter that they have. And I expect him to continue to get minutes because I think he's going to be a big part of their backcourt next year. So kind of what he does in this March Madness run will be really beneficial for him.
Zach, what would you say, if you had to name one thing, is the most dangerous part of this Florida team that is probably could be their biggest advantage heading into round one?
I would say the depth, but I kind of just alluded to that. I would kind of say on that note, but just more broadly, is how many guys that they have that can be the guy in any given game. There's been nights where Alex Condon didn't have it. There's been some nights where Will Richard didn't have it. Walter Clayton doesn't have many off nights. Yeah. He usually always comes correct. Even Elijah Martin has had a couple games where he's not had it or maybe he's been banged up. And whenever that's the case, like they've had probably 5 or even 6 guys that have kind of stole the show and show that they can kind of lead the team on any given night. And that's what makes them so dangerous and so deep, is that they don't just have to rely on Walter Clayton, or they don't just have to rely on Alex Condon, in the front court. They have multiple guys that can do it. And obviously we mentioned Thomas Howe. I mean, he's been incredible coming off of the bench, and there's definitely games where he's been the guy that led the Gators. So I would imagine for Florida to make a deep run in March, that they're going to have some games where, Will Richard is the star of the night, where Elijah Martin steals the show, where Alex Condon goes off, or one of these guys off the bench makes a huge impact. I think all the fans remember that Denzel Aberdeen game last year in Nashville against A&M. He might go off like that at some point in March Madness. So the fact that Florida has that capacity in their roster is why a lot of people are picking them to win the national title.
Certainly they are. Zach, I'm assuming you're heading up to Raleigh?
I am going to be in Raleigh, yes. I'm not going to miss any of these games. I honestly, I grew up in Gainesville, so I followed Florida basketball my whole life, but I didn't really cover them until kind of like the end of the Mike White era. Ball guy as far as media is concerned. So this this past weekend was my first time ever covering a championship on the Gators beat, which was pretty cool. So knowing how special this team is and what they could do here, potentially playing all the way into April, I'm going to be there for every step of the way.
I love it. I love it. And not to completely damper that, because, Zach, I feel the same way. And I'm not even covering the team as closely as you are. But with that said, because you're not alone. I mean, Patrick Young tweeted it over the weekend. He was like, I just don't want this season to end because it is such a good group. And I think that the collective conscience of the basketball community nationally has also latched onto this Gator group for all the reasons that we outlined earlier in our program. But, Zach, tell me this. Because we spent a good portion of yesterday's program and we played a couple clips from some podcasts that empathized with my feeling, which is UConn lurking in the second round. I said it to people around the building 2 weeks ago that could be a problem, that 8-9 game, if the Gators drew UConn or Gonzaga, and obviously they have drawn the former. Does it give you pause, or do you feel like this is a machine that it's going to defy every metric and every trend that the NCAA tournament has been dictated by for the last 30 years?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's March Madness and things can get weird, and I definitely don't want to put that possibility past Florida, because UConn is obviously an elite program, and that's going to be a team that can challenge Florida. But still, I don't think that there's going to be any test that they see, even if they make a deep run in the tournament, that's going to be anything more than what they've already faced playing at Auburn, playing at Alabama, playing the 3-game stretch that they played in Nashville. Like, I would even go all the way to UNC. I mean, that obviously they ended up not being an elite team by any means, but that was a very hard environment for Florida to go into and win. I just wrote about it today for Gators Online about, when they realized that they had a chance to have a special team. For Golden, he said it was when they beat Tennessee at home by 30 points. But Elijah Martin actually said it was the UNC game when they won the Jumpman Invitational, and it was an all UNC crowd, pro Tar Heels, and they were down and they came back and won that game. That kind of showed him the potential of this team. So UConn, if that's who they face, it is going to be a test. But I really think it would probably take Florida to get Sweet 16, Elite 8, and obviously if they can get to the final weekend before they really come across an opponent that could take them out. And if they end up seeing St. John's in the Elite 8, that's one I would point to as probably the most problematic for Florida before they can get to the Final Four.
Zach, what type of bracket guy are you? Are you going through all the trends in history, or are you just going with the gut?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just go off of more of what I see from the Ken Pom and some of the net rankings. I do like to dig into the statistics, but I tell you what, man, you fill out that bracket, it's hard to not put Florida at least in the Final Four. Mm-hmm. And honestly, this program has only had a number 1 seed 3 times now. And yesterday or Sunday was the 3rd time that they got it. Well, the first 2 times that they got a number 1 seed, they won the national title and they went to the Final Four the other time. So that's kind of the bar that's been set for this program when they get a number 1 seed. And I think everybody would agree, that's a Florida fan, that that is kind of the expectation for this team is to at least get to the Final Four and win their region. And the good thing is as hard as it is to win a national championship, and this team can do it, we're talking about where Florida could potentially get tripped up. Regardless of what happens, the fact that they won that SEC tournament title and had the season that they did, that is going to be something that they're going to always be able to hang their hat on. And obviously if they can win the whole thing, that's going to make it, one of the greatest programs or greatest seasons in school history. But what they've already accomplished is a lot for Florida fans to remember and be proud of, regardless what happens here these next few weeks.
Absolutely, especially the way the season started with Todd Golden under investigation and all the people thinking, that.
Remember when that was a thing? Like, man, here we are.
It did just
People-
get brought back up.
And I got to say, I am glad it seems like in the media, and obviously I didn't watch the SEC tournament from the broadcast, but I do like that doesn't seem to be something that any of the broadcasts have been bringing up during Florida's games. Like, that thing got put to bed and Golden got cleared, and like it's been all basketball, which is what it should be.
Well, just like that 2014 team had so much selflessness, that's how I feel about this 2024, 2025 team. Zach, and I already told my husband, whenever the season ends, whether it ends in a national championship or if it ends before that, I will cry whenever the season's over, just like I did in 2014. There will be tears shed, hopefully happy tears.
Yeah, no, I mean, this group is that special. They really are. And like I said, it's been really fun for me to cover it. I know it's been fun for Florida fans to follow, like the diehard Gator basketball fans that have wanted to see Florida reach this point again and struggle through the Michael White years. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and Florida's seeing it now.
Absolutely, Zach. Well, we appreciate your time. I know you're busy. Have fun and have a safe trip up to Raleigh, and I'm sure we will bother you again soon.
Yes, I'm counting on it.
Maybe even from Raleigh. I mean, I know they play Friday night, so maybe on the road back on Monday. How does that sound?
Well, that sounds great, and I'll let all your listeners know two things. One, if they're not following us at Gators Online, you guys can get in the door right now for just $1. We're running a March Madness promo, so follow all of Florida's March Madness run, and I'll have you know that I've already booked my flight to San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
Just throwing that out there.
Oh, man.
Todd Golden can tell you all the places to eat as well.
Oh, I already told him that he's going to have to give me the lay of the land. So.
Absolutely. All right, Zach, we appreciate it. Have a safe trip.
Absolutely. Thanks, y'all.
All right, there he goes. Todd Golden, for people who don't remember, was the head coach at the University of San Francisco before becoming the Florida head coach. And so certainly he knows all the places to go in San Francisco where Florida would be headed, assuming that all goes well this weekend.
We've got some Heeligans also manifesting those positive vibes, telling me to stop being worried about UConn. By the way, Seth Greenberg, who may or may not be joining us later in the week, did say on Bracketology last night that he actually thinks Oklahoma is a tough matchup for the Huskies. And he thinks that because of the guard play of the Sooners, which quite frankly, UConn hasn't been the most efficient defensive team this year comparatively to the last 2 years when they won the national title. He doesn't even think that they're going to get to the round of 32, but thank you, 716. Because UConn is the repeat national champs, they will have Florida's undivided attention. They will not sneak up on UF. Maryland might be more difficult, but the Gator big men will foul freshman sensation Derek Queen out. I like that line of thinking, 716.
Seth Greenberg also said he calls Florida Noah's Ark because they have two of everything.
I know.
That's funny.
Hilarious.
Which I love. All right, I'll give you our Terminix Pest of the day on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
I want to hear it from you. Now, what do I want to hear? 1010XL. Again. 1010XL. I can't hear you.
1010XL.
Your hole-in-one for men's health is Ackerman Urology. With offices in Mandarin, Middleburg, Rural Golf Village, and the beaches, Ackerman will get you on par for any prostate conditions and sexual vitality. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, I've seen ads for diamonds where you see the words all diamonds certified by IGI, EGL, or GIA. Just what does all that mean?
Frank, it's confusing because those letters represent various diamond grading laboratories. However, it's important to point out that labs don't certify anything. They issue diamond grading reports. The only entity that can certify the diamond is the seller. There's one exception to that, and that's members of the American Gem Society have the ability to certify diamonds through their partnership with the American Gem Society Laboratory. That's because it's the only partnership in the world where an organization devoted to consumer protection through gemological education and ethics has a laboratory built on the exact same principles. We have these certificates at Underwoods, but more importantly, we have American Gem Society certified gemologists that look at all of these diamonds and put our grade and our certification of the diamond's quality on it. And believe me, that's important.
It's that time again. The Ready, Set, Go sales event is back and going on now at Arlington Toyota. Mia here. Now's the time to make the most of Ready, Set, Go savings because the Arlington Toyota lot is jam-packed with inventory. That's over 800 vehicles to choose from. What kind of savings are there? I'm glad you asked. Just announced, 0% on select new Toyota models has been extended. 0%. And that means now's the time to save on the new Toyota you really want. And come on, admit it. You know you'd look good in a new truck. So get ready, set, and go get yours today with financing as low as 1.99% on select new Toyota trucks. Arlington has over 80 Tacomas and over 75 Tundras available. Plus, you get Arlington's lifetime warranty and 60-day exchange with your new purchase. Don't wait. Let's go and shop the Ready, Set, Go sales event at Arlington Toyota now through March 31st. In person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295 or arlingtontoyota.com.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast orthopedic specialist performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast orthopedic specialists for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast orthopedic specialists take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast orthopedic specialists.
Make the most of every lawn with Kubota commercial landscaping equipment. From the productivity-boosting Z700 mower to the reliable SVL track loader, it's a lineup built to get the job done right. Because when your reputation is on the line, you need equipment that will never let you down. Visit Coastal Equipment in Jacksonville or McClenny.
Power for the great outdoors. Coastal Equipment.
Coastal Equipment on New Kings Road and in McClenny.
Come visit the best sports restaurant in town. That's Big Dogs in Orange Park, known for great burgers, huge wings, pizza, salads, and special nightly events like trivia and karaoke. You'll all love it at Big Dogs Restaurant in Orange Park.
Get to know positions and players. The 1010XL Ultimate Draft Guide is brought to you by Blue Haven Pools, the #1 pool builder in Jacksonville. Follow rankings and roundtables as the draft takes shape. Go to 1010XL.com/2025 draft guide to get yours.
St. Johns County parents, does your kid have energy to burn? Want them to play a sport for their middle school? Sign up today for the St. Johns Middle School Athletic Association. Spring pickleball, tackle football, dance, and cheerleading. Who doesn't want their kid to be the next NFL quarterback or dance floor diva? Hurry, time is running out. March is almost over. You know how fast your kid can go from playing Xbox to practicing their touchdown dance or sideline cheer? Sign up at sjmsaa.org. sjmsaa.org.
Joe C. for Hard Rock Bet. Football season may be over, but there's plenty of action everywhere else. Not sure what to bet on? Check out the Discover page at Hard Rock Bet. You can download the app or head to hardrock.bet. College basketball, we're closing in on the biggest tournament of the year. Don't go in blind. Bet on the action today. Hard Rock Bet, download the app. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Tired of drafty, noisy vinyl windows? It's time to say goodbye to vinyl. And hello to lasting comfort with Renewal by Andersen Windows and Doors. Our exclusive Fiberx windows are 2 times stronger than vinyl, more energy efficient, and custom built to fit your home perfectly. No more warping, no more cracking, just beautiful, durable windows that stand the test of time. Right now, get special financing or save big with limited time discounts. Call Renewal by Andersen today and say bye-bye vinyl. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com. Don't wait. Upgrade today. License number CGC 1527613.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Tyson Sound & Security has a house built right inside their showroom, showcasing complete home automation and security systems. You have to see it to believe it. This setup can recognize intruders who approach your door and alerts them to leave if there's a break-in. Keep your family safe with the most state-of-the-art technology. Tyson Sound & Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
I've wasted a paycheck on whiskey and long necks ever since you left, trying to figure this out. This Jack I've been drinking's been wasted on thinking. Now I got a new reason for throwing them down. That
RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Great job with all the music today, RJ, or at least it's country, so I've loved it all. All right,
It's been a vibe.
Yeah, time now for our Terminix Pest of the Day. Termites are incredibly destructive. They will ruin lots of different parts of your house. So if you have any issues with termites, contact Terminix, TerMinix.com. You want to make sure you get ahead of those pests. And if you have pests in general, contact them. They'll come to your house like they did mine, or they'll come to your place of business. They take care of Everbank Stadium, Daly's Place, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, ViStar Ballpark, and a whole lot more. All right, today's Pest of the Day is food poisoning.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Do you know why the food poisoning is today's Pest of the Day?
I do not.
Because poor Tracy Morgan was at the Knicks game last
Tracy
night.
Jordan. Continue.
And he projectile vomited and caused a long delay in the game. And he had to come out today and tweet out that it was due to food poisoning because, of course, he wanted to make sure that people knew that he wasn't just...
He was just wasted.
over drinking because it was St. Patrick's Day. But yeah, food poisoning. I've had food poisoning a few times in my life.
Gosh.
It is one of the absolute worst things. When I had my ruptured appendix, I actually thought it was food poisoning. That's how similar they were. But it was not thankfully. I would have rather had food poisoning than a ruptured appendix. But either way, food poisoning is absolutely awful. And so I feel for Tracy Morgan because it happened to him in public.
Yeah, that's awful. Any projectile, never fun. But especially when you're on, this is going to be all over pictures and videos and forever it's living now.
That's part of the problem is in today's day and age when something happens, like the video, of course, is someone else that's sitting courtside and they've got their phone out and they just start. You don't want to look at it.
No.
But they just start.
Also, that would have started a train because I would have also, if I saw that.
But also, do we know,
taking video?
is it definitively food poisoning?
That's
he
what
said
he
illness,
said.
and he like everything. When you look up, it said says he's okay. Had food poisoning after vomiting,
Right.
and then it's like after scary medical incident. One of them say so. Yeah, but
Only because we thought that at the Players' Championship 2 years ago, I had food poisoning. And then when John Rahm also mysteriously had to
everybody
withdraw,
all of a sudden,
it became very clear that it was not food poisoning. So I hope that it's an isolated incident. Although I don't wish this upon Tracy Morgan.
RJ, were you watching
the Knicks game?
Yeah.
No.
No,
When
Mike
the
Dempsey was watching. Mike Dempsey was watching.
Yeah,
not,
Dempsey
not
definitely.
RJ.
Probably Hicken too, I would guess. Knicks fans. But yeah, just unfortunate for him and for anyone else that ever comes in contact with food poisoning. I want to run through a couple local baseball news and notes. Over the weekend, Florida was swept by Tennessee. So I guess if you're a diehard baseball fan and you're a Tennessee Volunteer, you at least had that over the Gators as Florida won in men's basketball. But Tennessee did win. They even ruled Florida on Saturday. That was rough. But Aiden King did pitch well in that contest. So tonight, Florida plays host to JU. First pitch is at 6:30. So that one's in Gainesville. JU, by the way, took 2 out of 3 at UNF. This past weekend, the Gators will start Jackson Barberi tonight against JU, and JU will throw righty Aaron Zenas. And then UNF plays host to Bethune-Cookman tonight. That first pitch is 6 o'clock. And FSU, who swept Boston College, not swept by BC over the weekend. Florida State plays host to Mercer tonight at 6 o'clock. The reason I wanted to mention all that is we found out yesterday the Florida State baseball game here in town a week from tonight is completely sold out.
Yeah,
So if you don't have tickets, I'm sorry you missed out on those. We had someone tweet us asking if we knew about any extra tickets. I don't know of any, but you can contact the Gator Bowl, and then parking is available by pre-sale as of now, or you can park in Lot J or Lot P the day of the game. But that game is going to be absolutely fantastic.
Oh, yeah. I also wanted to mention, because I didn't yesterday, but the Icemen have also clinched a playoff spot, too. Another Kelly Cup appearance for the Icemen. They're fourth in the entire ECHL right now, and only, I think, 6 points behind the Everblades, who are in second. South Carolina Stingrays are 9 points ahead of them, but they are headed back to the playoffs, so tickets are on sale for that now. I think they have 4 or 5 games left, and then it'll be playoff hockey time.
Good stuff. One segment to go here on Helmets and Heels. We'll bring that to you on the other side on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Let's take a look inside 1010XL.
Who wants the Grand Tour? That would be terrific. That would be great.
We have the drill in the morning.
Very amusing.
Jaguars today from 10 to noon.
Good.
Helmets and Heels until 2.
Yes.
XL Prime Time and the Franchi Show afternoons.
This is great.
Then Baloo and Hacker take you into the night.
All in one location.
1010XL.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sunny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Real estate isn't just a job, it's a commitment. With Paige Covington, you get a dedicated partner who's available day or night because buying or selling a home doesn't follow a schedule. Your needs come first. Whether it's finding the perfect home or selling for top dollar, Paige Covington goes the extra mile every time. Meet Paige Covington with Engel and Volkers at String Sports Brewery on Pittman Road in Jacks Beach, Friday, March 21st from 4 to 6 for Madness with the Frangie Show. PaigeCovington.evrealestate.com.
This is Hayes Cartline for Physician Guided Weight Loss. I'll tell you, this program works. I'm losing weight. I've got more energy. So my friend started the program a few weeks ago, and she's already seeing results.
That's right, Hayes. I just had my first month weigh-in, and I'm down 11 pounds. The food noise in my head is gone, and I just feel good. Plus, I have had no side effects.
Now's the time to do something that works. Start with Physician Guided Weight Loss, 257-4344, or visit pgweightloss.com.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group, 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it work. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
It's the Mr. Chubby's Bracket Challenge going on now at 1010XL.com. Print your bracket and bring it to any Mr. Chubby's Wings during Live Madness game. Get a free Miller Lite for each game you pick right. Top prize, Saturday passes to Welcome to Rockville.
Listen up, poker players. March is heating up at all 3 Best Bet locations. The Bad Beat jackpots are now uncapped, soaring to new heights. So don't miss your chance to win big. Plus, get in on the $42,000 weekend windfall, featuring $1,000 high hands every Friday and $500 high hands on Saturdays. And starting March 3rd, the Race to a Race promotion is back. For all the details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Mia here. Summer is just around the corner. Is your air conditioning unit ready to handle the heat? There is one way to find out, and it doesn't cost you a penny. My friends at Duck Duck Air Conditioning are hooking up all of our 1010XL listeners with a free inspection. Give them a call to schedule now, 904-862-6769. And if you need any repairs, they'll provide a free estimate to ensure your system is ready for that Florida heat. Call Duck Duck Air Conditioning at 904-862-6769 and be sure to tell them you want that free AC inspection you heard about on 1010XL.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
The 2025 NFL season is right around the corner, and the Jags are building something special. A fresh team, a new culture, and a stadium that's going to change the game. Be there to witness head coach Liam Cohen and the rest of the coaching crew in action by securing your season tickets today. Become a member to get access to exclusive experiences, VIP events, and more. Visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you at the bank this fall.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows. and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
So I just saw a tweet that I wanted to get your thoughts on. Brad Crawford, he's a college football analyst for 24/7 Sports, tweeted out, and it just made me think of it too because Deion Sanders was up on the screen. But Deion Sanders wants to scrimmage another team for Colorado's spring game on April 19th. He also says Shane Beamer has pounded the table for years on playing a preseason matchup, and the Gamecock spring finale is in that same weekend. Is this something we see?
Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see a lot of it because now teams are starting, and it was my Pest a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago now, teams are starting to not even have the spring games anymore. And so while I would love to see teams scrimmage against one another for their spring games, I think it would be fantastic, and I think they could sell more tickets. And I think you'd have to do actually like a home and home in order for it to be fair each year. But my concern is that no teams want to do this or fewer and fewer teams, because now they don't want to put anything on tape because of the transfer portal and other teams being able to poach their guys. And so we're already seeing multiple teams not even have spring games. And I am afraid that that's the way that a lot of other teams are going to start to go.
Yeah.
But I love the idea.
The spring game situation is just...
It's very tenuous and it makes me upset.
Right. I know it's like... But also, like, for me, it's... I feel like it's just like the tip of the iceberg of everything that's changing. And the fact that we just like are like, all right, well, the players are getting paid now.
Yeah.
All right, you can transfer wherever you want to go. And we've kind of just accepted that as reality. That's why my default setting is to also accept this as reality and this paranoia in the sport that already was paranoid beyond measure. But yeah, it's... I don't want to accept it, but I have no choice.
You don't think because it could be another... way to get money that maybe some colleges start to be like, well, maybe we just do this one rather than doing the spring games, the orange and blue games, you actually play one team or a home and home, like you said.
I mean, the spring game brings in a lot of money, and that's why the fact that you're seeing so many teams willing to go away from it. I mean, you've seen, I want to say Nebraska every year for the longest time, maybe not recently, but every year for like 30 years sold out its spring game. Ohio State, I'm sure this year will sell out its spring game. Certainly Florida has in the past when they're bringing back a national champion into Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. I'm so upset that the college model seems to be trending towards the pro model, just because for me that's like just a core memory growing up of getting to go to the spring game and getting to see these guys that you'd only heard about or read about. And then finally you get to see them in action. And it feels like, been waiting for football season for so long. And then you're going to still have 4 months before football season begins. But it's that little glimmer. And especially those backup quarterbacks, like you get to actually see those guys play. But it just feels like now, Georgia yesterday announced like no G Day in the traditional sense. Like if Kirby's doing it, everyone else is going to follow suit too. And we already knew Steve Sarkisian in Texas wasn't doing it.
But here's the thing. One of those other things that we've accepted in this new age of college sports is that everything is dictated, yes, by the almighty dollar, but by the almighty TV dollar. And so that's where this Deion idea...
It's a little interesting.
I'm like, if there's an opportunity for college sports, for universities... to make a little bit extra cheddar, I think they would seize that opportunity or, as they so often do, force their member institutions to follow suit.
Well, for instance, Georgia, ESPN is still going to show some of the spring practice. Okay. They're just not going to have the traditional G-Day scrimmage. And so Georgia still gets money. ESPN still gets some sort of college football coverage. And so in the end, it seems like both entities are happy.
But if you were to force the scrimmage upon them and say, hey, you have to play
game.
in this showcase game.
And it is interesting because you mentioned the side of it with the transfer portal and then
There's also
people not
injuries.
wanting to be tape. But I also think that some schools could also use that to their benefit if you're on TV and you're showing your team and you're trying to get certain guys from the portal, because I know the portal reopens around that time. And so if someone's watching on TV and they're like, oh, whether they're watching and saying they really need a quarterback or they really need a running back, so they could possibly use that to their benefit. But yeah, I think the injuries thing is something we talk a lot about in the college football world, just because it's right now, granted, you'd have a long time until the season started. So if it wasn't anything crazy, you would have time to kind of rehab and get back. But I know that's something that they are highly concerned with.
This is why I love the Heeligans. They're always keeping us on our toes. So 514 disagrees, says we already have the NFL. We don't need more college sports and forcing this upon these kids to play even more games. 329. Look at Ballou's tweet on the Deion subject. It is great. Our friend Rick Ballou. You get every night into the night. Why not? Everything else has changed in college football. FSU's future head coach is once again moving the needle.
I mean,
Joking about Deion being FSU's future head coach, obviously. Yeah, I don't know that that's necessarily going to happen. If you're Deion, he seems very happy in Colorado, and I feel like his next move would be somewhere to the NFL.
What if somebody because obviously we've seen Deion already in college football, when you're talking about moving the needle, start changing kind of things that some of it not maybe the best, because we've had the conversations of like when he's recruiting, he won't leave the campus and everybody has to come in to him, which is a little odd to me. But somebody like if a Deion and Bill get together, Bill Belichick, and they're like, let's do this thing, because I feel like how much power does that give?
I would love it, but you'd want to watch and see the fallout.
Yeah.
Is there a guy that they're counting on, they being Colorado or North Carolina in this instance, they're counting on for their team in 2025, and another team watches them, has NIL dollars, say in Oklahoma, with the rich coffers they have, or Texas, and they just make that phone call, even though that's illegal, but we can move well past that because it's been happening for years now. And they say, come on down, you'll be my featured running back, right? Like you're then again showcasing someone that can be pilfered, and
Right. That's the bigger.
That's the terrifying part for these coaches. So I don't even know if I would call them paranoid at this point, because it happens so legally all the time.
They would have to change the portal. They would have to.
Which I would love. I would love for them to change the portal. I would love for them to change it back to you have to sit a year if you're going to transfer, unless your coach leaves. I
Or
would love
not
to go back
open
to
so
those
many
rules.
times. Like, let's just have it one time. Here's the time frame of the portal
if your
being
coach
open.
leaves, you can open it on special circumstances.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is only open between
This day and this
January
week,
and March. And if you're out of school in the spring, that's where you're going to be playing in the fall.
Yeah, I never had an issue with the sitting a year. Like, if it's a big decision that I think you need to weigh, and if you're so easily able to jump, I don't know that you're weighing the decision that much. If you have to sit an entire year, and again, it doesn't go against your eligibility, then you will make that next decision much more carefully and after a lot more consideration. But and as far as the idea that Deion Sanders is proposing, Taylor, can you imagine if every spring we had a Florida State, or a Florida Georgia, or a Tennessee Alabama spring game?
Let's go.
I mean, even if they made it a flag football game at this point, like you would still have
Or joint practices.
100,000 people
Itching for
going.
football by April. So
Absolutely.
Let me throw one more idea of transfer at you guys, but from the basketball world. So Luke Hancock was on the ACC tournament coverage for ESPN in the ACC tournament, and I forgot his story until Kevin brought it up to me. Of course, played 2 seasons at George Mason, which Kevin's uncle is involved with the university there. And so he said he remembers sitting at a game with his uncle, and his uncle saying, this guy's going to be so good his senior year. And then that offseason, he transferred to Louisville and Rick Pitino back in 2011. He sat the whole year and then was a part of that national championship team in 2013. But what's so funny is as we sat there reflecting upon this, when Luke Hancock made that decision, that was very, very out of the ordinary. Yes, there certainly were mid-major players who would transfer to Power 4, Power 5 institutions once upon a time. But the idea of being at a competitive mid-major like George Mason, who at the time had been in the Final Four 5 years earlier, and being like, no, I'm going to go to Louisville and I'm going to risk it all and sit for a year. Like, it was just so funny to like look at that and then look at the world we live in now and just accept that that would be a completely different scenario in 2025.
Well, now we have the guy from Alabama who transferred to Auburn, or is it Auburn who transferred to Alabama?
Alabama to Auburn.
Yeah.
And Georgia
so-
Tech to Auburn as well.
Yeah, like in 10 years ago even, we would never have a player transfer from one rival school in state to the other rival. And yet now it happens and you just are like, oh, he gets to play on his old home court. And you move right along because it's a minor story.
It's a rematch. There's another one that there's a potential for. I don't think it's Caleb Love, but it's somebody else. They're like, oh, could be facing his former team. And I'm like, isn't this like going to get weird at some point? Or again,
well, they're facing 3 of their former teams in one season.
It's like I said off the top, Taylor. Right. We have just accepted all of this as the new normal.
Yeah.
And at some point in time, we have to stop accepting it.
Yeah.
And I don't know when that toothpaste out of the tube finally rears its ugly head.
Because we've talked about now with the expansion of the college football playoff, and that is probably going to continue to expand too, the closeness of the end of the college football season to now the combine. And so I do think maybe that would factor into if they wanted to move to this world of having a game in April. Some of these guys just got done playing and like actual meaningful games late into January. Eventually it'll be into February.
I wonder how late, depending on the expansion, if it goes to the 16 teams, I wonder how late those games will be. I mean, I feel like the NFL is going to stiff arm college football and say, February is our territory. Like, you are not allowed in that. And as far as, because of their scheduling for the playoffs and then the Super Bowl, of course. But yeah, it's all a fascinating, changing world. And the evolution of it all keeps us on our toes. Let's say hello to XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. Near your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Leon, congratulations for being a top 5 free agent of all time for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Thank you.
According to Jaguars Today.
I appreciate that. Do I get an award or something?
I think you should. I think we should have a whole banquet.
We should.
Nah. Well, listen, I just appreciate the accolade.
We were just talking about college football and the spring games and really spring football and entirely changing potentially. But when you were at Miami, if you got to have a spring game against another team, who would you have picked? Would it have been Notre Dame, Florida State, somebody else?
Absolutely Notre Dame.
Okay.
Yes. That would have been classic.
Oh, yeah.
Because we hated each other so much.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Oh, yeah. I wish they did. They should do stuff like that. You know how the NFL does?
Joint practices?
Yeah.
I think that would be super cool.
That's what I just suggested,
Yes, that would be cool. But see, the only thing you're probably going to have is that, college coaches are so secretive about their plays and stuff. You just come in there with like a vanilla,
Yeah.
offense.
Here's the 3 plays we're going to run.
I bet you could definitely sell out a stadium if you did.
Oh, I think so too.
So here's the big caveat to all of this, though, Leon, is even if they do those joint practices and they're not giving away the playbook, they're still exposing their players for all to see and be poached in the trade. Because I agree with you, because I go back to the line from Corky Rogers here locally at the Bowl School, where he said, hey, your team got eliminated from the postseason. You can come to our practice. You can watch. You can steal our playbook. We're going to execute better than you. So it doesn't matter if you have our plays or that you're trying to duplicate it.
These coaches are so secretive now.
Right.
It's so scary. I mean, if you execute at a higher level, it doesn't matter if you know what we're doing or not.
But therefore, it's all about, because I would like to believe that these coaches feel that way about their playbook and the actual operation, but instead it's the paranoia of what if my player is poached because they're on national TV and someone else sees them.
That's crazy. And Florida State has got them like a fortress around this.
They do. Norvell closed practices. So,
For those poor kids, that's terrible.
But it doesn't surprise you, does it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's coming across like having practice open was the reason why we were 2-10. But they won 19 in a row before that when they had open practices. So it doesn't make any sense.
He's trying to figure something out over there.
Yeah, I guess close practice. Whatever you got to do to not go 2-10, I guess you got to do it.
The problem might be DJ Uiagalelei was your starting quarterback last year. That may be why
that part.
you went 2-10.
Maybe we outbidded you for Cam. So
that's right. You certainly did. Well, we all thought Cam Ward was going to go to the NFL and then paused, and then FSU had already committed to signing DJ out of the transfer portal, and then obviously the rest is history as far as Cam Ward going to Miami. Do you think
you guys are already changing Carson Beck down there, though?
I know Carson's
single now, right?
Carson's having a rough 90 days, bro. I'm telling you, it's rough. The car, the relationship.
Welcome to South Florida.
Welcome to South Florida.
Leon, does Cam Ward go number 1 overall to the Titans? And if so, would you root for him?
I would root for him, never the Titans.
Right.
I don't even know.
You kind of hope
we're treading on water on this one. I hope he doesn't go to the Titans, really.
Because you don't want to root for them. But you
No,
want to
I
root
would
for
never root
him.
for the Tigers.
Yeah.
I mean, he a Cane, so I would hope he played well, but not well enough to beat us.
I get it. Anthony Richardson.
It's like I was about to say. It's like you guys.
I understand. All right, what's coming up?
We're going to talk draft, and has anybody filled out their brackets yet?
I have not done mine yet.
Are you going to wait until the playing games? I think I'm going to wait until the playing games.
I like to wait a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to wait. That's what we're going to talk.
All right, sounds good.
You got
Thanks, Leon. The madness will be underway later this week, and we will be out and about.
The first four starts tonight. Come on now.
Right, but as far as our show, we will be out and about till Thursday and Friday, and so just want to remind people to come out and hang out with us on Thursday, Hurricane Grill and Wings in San Marco, and on Friday, Big Dog Sports Restaurant in Orange Park. That'll do it for us. For me, O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. Don't go anywhere. XL Primetime comes up next. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow.
When you ought to not